Hey guys, girl Keen, I'm back in another video, and as you guys see by the title, I understand it's a weird stance to take, but it's a stance that I have found my home. Now, aside from my own things that I dislike about, Seth Rollins'S character, and even with Paul Heyman's character, I'm just looking at it as what are we doing with the heels that are on the main stage? What are we doing with the heels that are getting the most attention? Because I believe, of course, they're going to have heels that are on the mid card, the lower card, that are doing the job of a heel. But the ones that get the shine, the ones that are on that main stage, I'm sorry. The same type of heel that I've saw saw Randy Orton, The Miz, all those type of heels, we're lacking it. I feel as though there's less love when it comes to the art of being a heel. I understand the whole thing about, maybe they don't want to cheer for whoever they want to cheer for. Maybe it's not about who's a good guy and a bad guy. I mean, it's 2025. But not every story needs to have a complex heel. And for the past year, we've seen a story where we've had a complex heel on the front lines. The time right now currently where we haven't really seen a complex heel is Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre has been doing his thing as a heel. I gotta give him all the credit, all the props, because he's taken on a stand where he believes he's in the right way. He's the one who's doing the right thing. But every single one of all his actions, a majority of things he's saying, you're lying, bro. What are you talking about? You're getting that same thing as when an evil mastermind tells their reasonings for why they're doing it. You have that same look. You have that same feel. And with Seth Rollins, you don't have that. With what Paul Heyman did on Monday, we don't have that. We have this feeling of, you know what? I can see why you did that. Oh, I can understand that. The complex heel stance has just been so popular ever since Roman Reigns had become the tribal chief, and I respect the fact that he decided to make that change in character, and that type of character change influenced the whole industry. But sometimes we need a heel that's just kicking people just for the fun of it. We need the heel that's doing what they're doing just because. And I believe that NAOMI and Drew McIntyre, on like a higher level, been doing their thing. They've been doing their thing. El Grande Americano, I believe somebody might bring him up in a conversation. No, not really. He's not it. He's cheap. That's cheap heat right there. I'm talking about some real down heel stuff. What El Grande is doing, I ain't hitting it. And then for a certain point, Chad Gable was going to hit it. As Chad Gable, he was hitting it almost, but then they dropped the ball on that. So now we're at square one. There's something very interesting about the New Day that they might be that one where I'm like there for, but not every heel needs to be complex. I'm saying it right now. Not every heel needs to be complex. Sometimes we need to have a heel that's doing bad things just because they want to further their career, because they want to hit a vendetta. We don't need to spam the whole complex heel of they were once the good guy, or they're believing what is right, or doing what is right for the good of everybody, that they just can't see it. That's what happens with Seth Rollins. Currently, Seth Rollins is taking a stand on his soapbox, saying that he's the one that's really going to pull through for the wrestling industry, and that he wants to do things for the benefit of the company. And instead of the shine being on Roman Reigns, a part-timer, a guy that doesn't care less about showing up to work, or a guy like CM Punk who spit on this industry, spit on this company, but decided when it was favorable to him to come back. Now, he's taking a very interesting stance. I will not lie. It's a very interesting one, and you can understand where he's coming from. I'll say that. But the man is a hypocrite. The man is a downright hypocrite. And I hope you guys see that, because he never apologized to Roman Reigns, number one. He never apologized for behavior. I believe that he is basically just upset because he's not them. Like, if he was in a position of either one of these men you would not be hearing these things from him. You would not be hearing about how we need to be there on time, or even when I got booked badly to the point where, I was questioning things, the same thing that CM Punk was going through. You wouldn't see that. You wouldn't be hearing that. Instead, it'd be the other way around. It's because he's not in their shoes. He's not in their shoes. He wants to be in their shoes because he believes that the love that he has for it is deserving for it. But what you guys need to realize is sometimes you love something so much, it's not going to love you the same way. It's not going to love you the same way. It's not going to do the same. It's not going to treat you in the way you want it to be treated. Just like any human, that's like with anything. And that's what's happening with Seth Rollins. He's a self-righteous guy, but he's missing the marks because he's only a hypocrite. When it benefited him, as we saw in the Authority days, he was willing to do whatever he wanted. And any other time Seth Rollins turns heel, honestly, it's to benefit him. Because if he was really thinking about the future of the industry, he wouldn't be the one who's spotlighting it. He'd be the one in the back. He put Braun Breaker at the front line and say, we're here for Braun Breaker. He would have took the stance of an advocate. He didn't take the stance for an advocate. He took the stance of a guy that wanted to be he wanted to be on the marquee. He wants to be on the posters. That's where Seth Rollins wants to be, and that's where he thinks that he deserves to be. That's not the markings of a good guy. That's not the markings of totally a heel. It's the markings of an anti-hero. And not every story needs an anti-hero. Not every story needs to take the stance of, I'm doing this for your good. We don't need that. We've had that for such a long time, and I love Roman. Don't get me wrong. I love the guy to a certain extent. I don't know that man. But not everybody else needs to take the stance of the Tribal Chief character. Not everybody else needs to take that stance. Sometimes you just need to be the bad guy. Sometimes you just need to look out for yourself. And Paul Heyman taking the stance of any slimy businessman would. Honestly, I'm not really surprised, but it's almost to a point where they're making you want to have sympathy for Paul Heyman. And I could argue you don't need to have sympathy for Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is in the place that he wants to be. He's always been in the place he wanted to be. Every single part of his career, he has hitched a ride on the coattails of very powerful men, very influential men. So, for you guys to think that he's in this place because he's a victim? No, this man's not a victim. He played his cards right. He's a villain. The man is a villain. You cannot tell me that he didn't see Roman leaving. You can't tell me that. You cannot tell me and sit here, look me in the eye and believe that he really thought CM Punk wasn't going to ask for a favor that would have put him in a hard place. We all knew that. The looks that he's been making with CM Punk for the whole time, everybody saw the Roman's reactions. Everyone saw that reaction. He saw the reactions. So there's no way that he thought, my petty friend is going to take the good way out of it. He's going to turn the other cheek. No, the guy's not going to turn the other cheek. In what world did you guys know CM Punk to turn the other cheek? That's not him. It's never been him. So for somebody who's close to him and believing that, even in some of his words, when he talked about Roman Reigns and the fact that Roman Reigns decided to take the time off after he lost, he basically called Roman a loser. He basically said he put Roman where he's at. He held down the bloodline for those 5 years, for the whole time, while Roman was just still a puppy, a guy that he had to pull out from the gutter. I'm just saying what I believe his words to mean. He was the one who really helped the bloodline. He was the one who really elevated the bloodline to the point where they needed to be. That's basically what he's trying to say. But no, that's not what it was. That's never what it was. But as the businessman he is, as the slimy businessman he is, he's going to make it seem as if he was just, a victim of circumstance. No, this man is not a victim. He should have known day one Roman wasn't deciding to answer his calls. He was alone. So, as any smart person would have just been where Roman was at. Shoot, I would have went to the island of Rollins'S. The jet doesn't have a key. Roman doesn't have the key to the jet. Have anybody really thought about the fact that Paul Heyman could have always went to visit Roman? He just decided not to. Because he decided when Roman lost that belt, he no longer had the power. He no longer had the keys to the kingdom. He no longer had the influence. The man decided to bring CM Punk out of nowhere. Didn't decide to answer Roman's phone call. And you guys thought he wasn't building a plan in the background. No, he was waiting for somebody, an opportunity. Because when he lost that title at WrestleMania, he no longer was... Sure, maybe the moment of the night, Paul Heyman decided maybe I could be loyal, maybe I could stay, maybe I could continue to serve his family as I did for the 40 plus years. But is that really in Paul Heyman's makeup? Is that really who Paul Heyman is? No. This man's looking for the next opportunity. He's looking for the next superstar. He's looking for the point of where he can have the most power. And sure, Roman Reigns and CM Punk both have power without a title. We all can say that. Nobody will argue that. But what those men do lack is the urgency. I think they lack the urgency, and Paul Heyman was not really. The man is not a patient man. He couldn't have gotten to Cody Rhodes. No. Who can get to Cody Rhodes? Nobody. That man is what? Superman? He's a Boy Scout. You can't try to influence him, even especially after the 4 or 5 years he was on the... No, he wasn't even there long enough to be 4 or 5 years. For the 2 years of being on the bad end of the bloodline, you really think he wasn't going to entertain Paul Heyman? And Paul Heyman would have known that. He was looking for the next big fish. Gunther... Never. Gunther would never, because Gunther himself is more than enough. He himself is more than enough. Does the man really need to have plans? So he knew he couldn't get to Gunther. So waited for the best opportunity. He waited for the best moment. Everybody and their mama knew Jey Uso was not going down at WrestleMania. I believe Paul Heyman was just waiting. He was just waiting for an opportunity. Seth Rollins was that opportunity, because out of Roman Reigns and CM Punk, Seth Rollins has more of an urgency. He has more of a hunger when it comes to wrestling. That I will give him. I will give him that, because out of everything, CM Punk and Roman Reigns could be derailed by some petty squabble. The only time where Seth Rollins really gets derailed is when it comes to CM Punk. But because he was pushed into a corner, I do think that Seth Rollins decided to be the bigger man. I mean, the man is what? He's the architect. He's smart about things. He has more of an urgency when it comes to getting a title. And as we saw on Monday, he's wanting to get a title, and he found a way to get that title. Get an opportunity for the title. That's something, in the past year, CM Punk and Roman Reigns have not had the same urgency to do. They haven't had the urgency to step up to a world champion. Instead, they've gotten derailed by petty beefs. Not petty. I will say squabbles, because the Ulafala wouldn't be petty for Roman Reigns. The role of Tribal Chief is not a petty role, so excuse me for that. But he got derailed. Instead of focusing on the title, he went towards family issues, which is okay. CM Punk, bracelet, Drew McIntyre. That beef. And I believe the fact that CM Punk was not really willing to run away with Paul Heyman may have also played a part in everything. But these heels, if Paul Heyman came with that straight cut, I'm here for what I want. I'm here for the power. I'd say he's doing a perfect role as a heel, but instead, they don't want you to see them as that. They don't want you to see them as anti-heroes. And with Liv Morgan, that woman don't really get booed. That woman, I like what they've done with Liv, because although yes, I want to heal, but Liv, she's justified. I don't believe she's complex. She's just justified. And she's not taking any side of good or evil. She's not really an anti-hero either, because she's not willing to step up for anything. She's not here for a righteous cause. She's just here for what she wants. I respect that character, but it's not giving heel. It's not giving brutality. What Naomi's doing is giving heel. She's stepping on anybody, running over anybody, doing whatever she wants now to be on top. Nia Jax, I respect that as well. It's just not on the same level as that type of timing, I should say. It's not the same type of timing that I'm really looking for that the heels I named are on. And it's as if they want a redeeming characteristic from heels, but I don't want that. I want to heel downright dirty heel. I think Carmelo Hayes is one of those people that if he was added to that group, he would have that downright dirty heel, as in here to do whatever I want to get on the top because it's where I belong. The whole anti-hero thing, to me, I like it, but I also like a good heel. There's not a good heel other than the two I named. Real life getting down and dirty with it, because it's just not the time where they want to do that. It's not the time, it's not the place. What I believe, maybe this summer, we'll see something different. Maybe we'll see Naomi with the championship, and then she'll give us everything that I'm looking for on the women's side. And even maybe Drew McIntyre, who knows? But the ones you might name, they're not giving the heel downright dirty heel. They're not giving the heel like the Randy Orton heel. I want something like that. But y'all let me know how you guys feel about my thoughts on it. Y'all let me know if I'm tricking and bugging, if there's heels down there that I'm just not looking at. But that is something to be put into question as well. I want those heels to be spotlighted. That's one of the points. I don't want the heel just to be on a mid-card or just not being spotlighted. And honestly, I do love the New Day, but they're in the tag team division. That is the division that's not really getting talked about enough. But y'all let me know how you guys feel. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!